Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Ducati Hyperstrada 939 review. So this is the touring review, and I've just got back from 9 days in Europe where I did around 2,800 miles. Basically my trip was travelling on the Newcastle to Amsterdam ferry. Once I got to Amsterdam, I then headed down to the south of France via Luxembourg, spent a few days in the south of France having an incredibly fabulous time around the Gorge Du Verdon and various very twisty canyon roads. After the south of France, I then went up to Switzerland, where I stayed for a few days and did all the classic mountain passes like the Susten Pass and the Grimsel Pass, and then I came home. So I did 2,800 days. The bike was absolutely, completely reliable, started on the button every time. I probably averaged around 52 miles to the gallon in total, and I didn't hold back anywhere, so I must admit I think that was pretty impressive. The bike didn't use any oil whatsoever, and I adjusted the chain before I went, and I didn't have to adjust it at all during the 2,800 miles. So I did quite a lot of riding, and I think my longest day in total was 11 hours. That was kind of like a bit of a mistake, because what I decided to do was I was travelling from the south of France, went up to Switzerland, and I thought I'm not going to stick on any motorways and board of them, so I'll do all the twisty roads, including the Col de Galibier. So ultimately I ended up in the saddle for 11 hours, which I have to say was probably a little bit too much, but having said that, it was only about after hour 9 that I started to get a bit uncomfortable. Apart from that, every other day I was totally comfortable. There was absolutely no aches or pains or anything. Just incredible for such a small bike. Now the bike is very small, of course, and you don't have much weather protection. And one of the days it absolutely lagged it down all day. I mean, I'm not kidding. It absolutely chucked it down for 10 hours. And guess what? I was riding in it for 9 hours. So I had about 400 miles of rain, and yes, I got absolutely soaked, and pretty much all of my gear leaked. And this is pretty good gear. Everything's got Gore-Tex in it, but it just kind of gave up the ghost after about 2 hours. But having said that, the bike itself was just really, really confident in the wet weather. I mean, there was standing water. It was absolutely chucking it down, but the bike felt just brilliant. I think Honda have a phrase which is total control. I think with the Hyperstrada, it's like total confidence. It just makes me feel so confident even in awful weather. So as a measure of how good the bike is, even though I got absolutely soaked, I got bored and thought, you know what, I'm going to go for a twisty ride. And it was still chucking it down. I was soaked, so I came off some of the big roads and I went down some little twisty mountain roads in the pouring rain, and I had an absolutely brilliant time. And that was with, after just doing 7 hours in the rain. I mean, that for me is a measure of the bike. Now, the other thing about the bike being small and agile, which I hadn't really kind of appreciated before, was just all the boring stuff like petrol stations and hotels. I mean, it was just so easy to push around and put in places. It was just brilliant. And you can complain about the lack of weather protection, but that's a bit like complaining that you've bought a fork and it's no good to eat soup. I really wouldn't want anything bigger. The tyres were absolutely brilliant. They're about half worn, so I've got Road Smart 3s on them. And I think, the thing about the Hyperstrada is it makes everything easy. Everything is really, really easy and brilliantly good fun. So I've now done in total about 4,000 miles in about just under 3 months. And you know what? I think it might be the best bike I've ever had. I absolutely love it to bits. So that's it. That's the end of the review. Ducati Hyperstrada. Roll on Christmas. Can't wait. Cheery bye.